Hello everybody, and welcome to my Monster Hunter World Top 5 Heavy Bowgun tier list. Basically, the reason I'm putting this together now is because I'm done reviewing the heavy bowguns. That's right, it's time for me to move on to another weapon, but of course, first I'm going to tell you the 5 heavy bowguns that I think are strongest. Now there's kind of a little asterisk to this, right? There's a notation. The Behemoth hasn't come out yet, and of course this is still an actively supported game. So as time goes by, there may be nerfs, there may be buffs, and there may be new heavy bowguns to consider that might change the meta up, might change the tier list up a little bit. So keep that in mind, and if you're curious about the future, keep an eye on my channel. I'm going to be keeping you guys updated on the heavy bowguns. They are actually my new favorite weapon in the game, and that's why they're also my most used weapon in the game. That's right, I've now put 1,300 hours into Monster Hunter World, and my most used weapon is the heavy bowguns. So I can say, unlike probably some of the other tier lists for the heavy bowguns, that I actually have the experience behind what I'm saying, which is hard. It's hard to actually have that. It requires work, right? You know, when it comes to putting together a build or being able to speak about something with any type of authority, probably you have to start with being able to play with that weapon solo, being able to get decent speedrun times, being able to understand how the weapon performs in a group as well. So it's multifaceted, and it just takes time, and I actually put the time and effort into that, and I hope you guys can appreciate that. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the formatting of the top 5 list. So obviously there's a lot more than 5 heavy bowguns that you should consider using in the game. Basically how I've separated them is by ammo types. Yeah. So some ammo types are more valuable than other ammo types, and it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship between the ammo and the gun. Some guns will take an ammo type and make it amazing, some ammo types are amazing, and then all you need is a gun that can use it, right? That's how it works. So in a part, this list is a rating of the ammo types, but it's also a rating of the weapons that use that ammo type the best. And in those categories, you'll find more than one heavy bowgun that you can choose from, and I'm going to kind of help differentiate between why you might choose one over the other. I still have a lot of the details in my head from doing the actual reviews, and these reviews, all I have to do is go back to my old work and see why I reached a particular conclusion, and that's what allows me to form a list like this. And lastly, before we get started, I just want to mention that I'm not going to be going into too much detail about how you are meant to use these heavy bowguns. If you really want to know a lot more details about how I came up with my conclusions, the builds that you should use for these heavy bowguns, that's kind of a big one, go to the comment section. I'll have a pinned comment, and I'll have a link to all of the heavy bowguns that made it onto the list. I've done a full review, a full guide for all of these heavy bowguns, and that's a much better place, you know, for resources on how to use them than this particular video, because if I did like a build for every heavy bowgun in this video, I don't know, it would stretch on for like an hour, which maybe you guys like that kind of thing, but I can only talk about them so many times. If I've already talked about them, I'd rather just point you to something I've already worked on than doing it all over again. You see what I'm saying? So let's go ahead, I'm rambling, let's go ahead and get started. So this is a top 5 list. I guess the first thing I want to say is it could have been a top 6 list. I could have had a 6th rank could have been for the normal ammo slash slice ammo, right? The problem with them, normal and slice ammo right now are really in a situation where they're not strong enough to be considered useful. And part of this could just be that we don't have a heavy bowgun that makes use of them the best. If I was including 6th place, I would definitely choose the Empress Cannon Styx, because it has the spare shot skill and because it holds a lot of both of these ammo types while having a decent amount of damage, right? It beats out the power shooter with normal ammo and slice ammo. It's kind of nice. However, normal ammo and slice ammo are basically the worst of all the ammo types for the heavy bowguns right now. They don't have any application that another ammo type wouldn't do an explicitly better job. So that's why there is no 6th place, and normal ammo and slice ammo do not make it onto the list at all. Hopefully Capcom actually comes back and buffs the slice ammo. I actually used slow-mo in order to calculate the damage being done by slice. It's not impressive, guys. It's pretty low. So slice ammo, they might have been a little too zealous on that. It might have been nerfed too hard, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't bring it back when you have super powerful ammo types like the sticky ammo, or sticky ammo is a good enough example. Yeah, so you still have sticky ammo. You just have nerfed slice ammo, and I think it was an overreaction by Capcom. So I hope they consider fixing that, and I hope they consider giving the normal ammo more of a unique purpose, because right now pierce ammo and spread ammo basically cover all the bases so well. You don't really need normal ammo for anything. But okay, that's talking about the non-existent 6th place on this list. Let's move on to the first official ranking, 5th place. 5th place is going to be for elemental ammo types, and we have a few heavy bowguns that do certain ammo types the best. The Empress Cannon Styx heavy bowgun is best for water and thunder. Then you have the Terrath Assault Magma, which is best for fire and is pretty good at thunder. So if you didn't have the Empress Cannon Styx, you could just use Terrath Assault Magma. And then finally, the Empress Blaze is best for ice elemental ammo types. Now really amongst those ammo types, only one of them stands out, the thunder ammo. Thunder ammo is going to be really useful when you're fighting Kulve Taroth when she's in stages 1, 2, and 3. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to be leaving all the links in the comment section. If you just want to see how to use the gun, go click on that link. But yeah, it does exceptionally well with the lightning ammo. It also has that spare shot, which is so good for any heavy bowgun, and it's one of the reasons why it edges out the Magma heavy bowgun, which was previously the best heavy bowgun for thunder ammo. And right now, basically, Kulve Taroth is the only monster where we're really worried about using elemental ammo types. I thought maybe when Arch-Tempered Valhazak came out, he would be great for fire ammo, but then they gave him, a shield for projectiles, and so not really. So yeah, thunder ammo is basically the only interesting ammo type, and the problem with, I feel like cluster bombs could still outperform the thunder ammo when you're fighting Kulve Taroth anyways. So yeah, they come in 5th place. They have very little application, but at least they do a good job when you do use the thunder ammo against Kulve. Alright, moving on to 4th place, we have the Pierce ammo, and there's 2 guns that use Pierce ammo pretty well. Once again, the Empress Cannon Styx. It's kind of a chameleon of a weapon. It's good at thunder ammo, water ammo, and here we are talking about it for the Pierce ammo. Now here's the deal, it's not the best at the Pierce ammo, but I would say it's easier to obtain because the weapon that I think is actually best at the Pierce ammo is the Terrath Assault Support. Now the Assault Support technically should be doing less damage per shot with this Pierce ammo, but here's where they ended up differing big time, right? With the Empress Cannon Styx, you need to go in and use custom mods to bring your recoil and reload to agreeable levels, right? To competent levels. Whereas with the Terrath Assault Support, all you need are ranged attack up mods, and once you get those mods on, it turns out the Terrath Assault Support actually does more damage. Now the next question is, well, could the Empress Cannon Styx still outperform it using the spare shot skill? And I would say no, just because Terrath Assault Support carries so much ammo, it's not really a big deal if you have to reload. It also reloads quickly, so that's not a big deal either. So having the spare shot isn't that big of a deal here, and having the most damage is. So Terrath Assault Support takes 1st place. Oh, here's another one, I almost forgot to mention it. Terrath Assault Support has paralysis ammo, right? And that's actually very useful when you're using a Pierce heavy bowgun, whereas Empress Cannon Styx does not. So that's another way where they slightly differentiate from each other. Alright, and that's Pierce ammo. So 5th place was Empress Cannon Styx thunder ammo. 4th place, we had Terrath Assault Support for Pierce ammo, and Empress Cannon Styx was an honorable mention. Now we're moving on to 3rd place. 3rd place, we are going to be talking about the Wyvern ammo types, or Wyvern ammo if you prefer to pronounce it that way. I get grilled on this all the time. People, oh, pronounce it the right way, right? I like pronouncing it Wyvern, it just makes more sense to me. So the Wyvern ammo category is a little more confusing. You mainly have 3 guns in this category. You have Teostro's Flames, Terrath Assault Horn, and the Griffin Blazooka. Now the Griffin Blazooka is my favorite out of the 3, and that's because it has a really powerful special ammo Wyvern Snipe, and as it turns out, it deals the most damage per shot with Wyvern Snipe than any other heavy bowgun in the game. And so I favor it. But you may favor the Terrath Assault Horn because it has pretty strong spread ammo as a kind of like a secondary ammo type, right? So when you're not using Wyvern ammo on the Terrath Assault Horn, you can get close to the monster and use spread. That's going to help alleviate the fact that you can't hold a lot of Wyvern ammo. Also, if you just prefer Wyvern Heart, then obviously Tear the Salt Horn is the way to go for you. And then we have Teostra's Flames, which is kind of an odd one. So Teostra's Flames, in terms of Wyvern ammo, it does less damage per shot. It just doesn't do the damage that the other two. So the other two heavy bowguns, Griffin Blazooka, Tear the Salt Horn, they do about the same damage per shot with the Wyvern ammo. Whereas Teostra's Flames does notably less damage per shot, but it holds 2 shots at a time. So you're able to run through both shots faster than the other heavy bowguns, and that adds up. The time cost of reloading. If those other heavy bowguns hold 1 shot of Wyvern ammo, and Teostra's Flames holds 2, that means in the course of like 10 shots, you've reloaded half as many times. And so being able to spam through the Wyvern ammo is actually meaningful on Teostra's Flames because it's then able to switch into using Cluster Bombs level 3. So it has Cluster Bombs level 3 as well. This is another way that it kind of stands out from the other 2 heavy bowguns. Those heavy bowguns are kind of using well, for the Griffin Blazooka, you're using your Wyvern Snipe, and you're using your normal ammo and your Pierce ammo to try to supplement the Wyvern ammo. On the Tear the Salt Horn, you're probably using your spread ammo and the Wyvern Heart to supplement the Wyvern ammo, right? But on Teostra's Flames, you just spam your Wyvern ammo as fast as you can with fewer reloads than the other 2 guns, and then you go right into your Cluster Bombs. I haven't done enough testing with this heavy bowgun, primarily because I need another Heroes Streamstone, or Rarity 8 Streamstone, in order to augment it. It needs the health augment, and then I'm going to be running some speedruns, so I haven't gotten the appreciation for this gun that I would like to have. However, I'm still going to be choosing the Griffin Blazooka as first place for this category of Wyvern ammo. I feel like it's certainly debatable, though. I think it's fair enough to say that the other 2, Tear the Salt Horn and Teostra's Flames, should be more than just honorable mentions. It's basically like a 3-way tie in my opinion, and the real question mark is, can Teostra's Flames perform even better than I thought it would? But it's hard to say, and I won't know until I've had more and more practice, and maybe I'll report back later in the future. I do plan on making another top 5 heavy bowguns list, but much later in the future, assuming the meta's changed and it's worth making a new list. Okay, so that was Wyvern ammo. Let's move on to the next ranking. We're at ranking number 2, spread ammo. So the spread ammo in Monster Hunter World has been strong, and everybody's noticed this, but it's kind of balanced out by the fact that, you have to be skilled enough to use it. Similar to the way Wyvern ammo is balanced out by the fact that you can knock your teammates away, which would lower the team's output. Also the fact that the Wyvern ammo, you only get 10 shots of it, right? That's a way of balancing out the Wyvern ammo. Well, the spread ammo is kind of like that. Spread ammo deals a ton of damage. However, to make most use of it, you have to get right in the monster's face. You really do, and you're going to have to play from that range all the time. It's also not as good at healing you like the Wyvern ammo. So with the Wyvern ammo, when you take a health recovery augmentation and you shoot the monster, you're going to get a ton of health back. The spread ammo is not like that. So spread ammo is a little trickier. You don't have the same healing capacity that you would with the Wyvern ammo. So it just takes even more skill, right? It's nice. You can pair spread ammo with the impact mantle. You can get the KOs. You get that high damage and knock the monster over multiple times, right? And in fact, some of the fastest speedruns we've seen in the game was done with the Glutton Heavy Bowgun. And the Glutton Heavy Bowgun is what takes primary spot here in the spread ammo tier, if you want to call it that, right? So we're talking about the top 5 heavy bowguns. Number 2, Glutton Heavy Bowgun, and chasing right behind the Glutton Heavy Bowgun is definitely the Tear the Salt Horn. So Tear the Salt Horn, you can actually build it up for spread ammo damage, and it's going to do more damage per shot than the Tear the Salt Glutton. However, Glutton, just because of its much larger magazine, it's going to be outperforming the Horn, okay? So I really don't feel like it's too much of a contest between Glutton and Horn. Horn's a lot more of an honorable mention in this category, whereas when we were talking about the Wyvern ammo, 3rd place, right, is a lot closer between Griffin Blazooka and Teostra's Flames over there. Over here, it's just an honorable mention. Glutton Heavy Bowgun is easily the best heavy bowgun for spread ammo. Alright, and so why is Glutton Heavy Bowgun so good? It just comes down to it has good recoil, it has good reload, it has a giant clip of ammo, level 3 spread ammo, and it has the right base damage. A lot of times this all comes down to in this game, right? What are the attributes of the gun, and can you understand them? Can you see them, right? Finally, moving on to 1st place, we have the cluster bombs, and I think a lot of you guys probably already knew that's where this was heading. The cluster bombs in Monster Hunter World are beastly. I mean, if anything was going to be nerfed in this game, I would imagine cluster bombs should be nerfed. You see, because when you have like the spread ammo, it's like what I was saying, you actually have to be skilled with the spread ammo. You're on a team, the monster is turning to go aggro your friend, well, now you're shooting the monster in the butt with your spread ammo and you're not really doing as much damage, right? You get a monster who stands off the ground pretty high, spread ammo is going to be less effective, right? Cluster bombs are insane. Cluster bombs, you just put your Rocksteady mantle on, or now the Temporal mantle, and you just sit under the monster and you spam clusters. I mean, the only real skill involved with the cluster bombs, in my opinion, is knowing how to use the radial menu to craft more cluster bombs, and that's easy. I mean, once you figure it out the first time, you're done. You can do it anytime. Aiming cluster bombs, it like auto aims for you basically, and it has such a wide spread, it's very hard to miss. I think one of the ways that they could balance the cluster bombs out is maybe drastically lower the firing rate of the cluster bombs and maybe increase the damage a little bit so that it's more of a burst damage weapon rather than a sustained damage weapon. Do you see what I'm going with here? So if you knock the monster over, you're like, here's my chance to get a cluster bomb out, and then it comes out, and it's real slow if you want to fire it twice. See, that's what they should have done with it. The way it is now, you can spam the cluster bombs like it's easy, and you can solo those monsters about as fast as the Glutton Heavy Bowgun. Glutton Heavy Bowgun may have cases where it can go even faster than the cluster bombs, but the difference is cluster bombs are an explosive ammo type, and so they're literally useful in every single situation, because cluster bombs ignore like hit zones, they ignore like deflection, they ignore all those kinds of things, they ignore affinity to just basically do a set amount of damage every time, and in this case they're going to be doing a lot of damage because you're going to be using the Dark Devourer. Dark Devourer is only slightly lower in raw attack than the Griffin Blazooka and the Terath Assault Horn, and of course they're relying on using an Elementalist decoration. Dark Devourer doesn't rely on that at all, which just means you get an extra level 2 decoration slot when you're building with it. It's insane how good the Dark Devourer is with the cluster bombs, and it's not just the cluster bombs that are up here at the top. It's really more about the fact that you have sleep ammo and wyvern ammo on the same weapon, right? Even when we're talking about like the Griffin Blazooka. Griffin Blazooka can't put a monster to sleep and then use a wyvern ammo. Guess what? Dark Devourer can. It's crazy. And then here's another one, right? You got Griffin Blazooka over there with the wyvern ammo. It's got like level 1 sticky ammo. I don't even use it. You go over to Dark Devourer, you got level 3 sticky ammo. It's insane. It's too strong of a gun, even, I would say. It's not just a meta setter for the heavy bowguns, but for most of the weapon classes. Most weapon classes cannot keep up with the damage and the speed of the Dark Devourer. And anytime you have trouble with any monster, you want to solve it easily, just use the Dark Devourer and make sure it has a health recovery augmentation, right? If you're in a group, you just spam level 3 sticky ammo. You won't be doing as much damage as like cluster bombs, but guess what? It's still easy as F, right? Because you just aim vaguely for the monster's head and he's going to KO, and once the monster KOs, you can get about 3 KOs on the monster, by the way. I pretty consistently get 2, and I usually get 3. It just depends on how good my teammates are. If they're good, I'll only get 2. If they're not so good, I'll get 3 KOs, right? You get that sweet, sweet KO, right? The monster gets knocked over, and everybody gangs up on him, right? Once the monster's been knocked down, you're so good at getting damage out in this game on a KO'd monster. So the sticky ammo is so strong in multiplayer, and at the same time, you've got the cluster bombs if you're playing solo or if you're speedrunning. It literally covers all the bases that you would want a heavy bowgun to cover. There's not really anything else that it could do better than it already does. Maybe if it had paralysis ammo, it happens to have enough sleep ammo that you can put a monster to sleep twice most of the time, I would say, and then you can just use your wyvern ammo as the wake up, right? It's amazing. Now, its only competitor, in my opinion, is the Magdaka Metis. Magdaka Metis comes in a close second to the Dark Devourer, right, in this category, this first place category. It's an honorable mention. It does have paralysis ammo. The difference is it has a lower attack value, and so you just won't be getting as much damage per shot with the Magdaka Metis, and that's why I pretty strictly use the Dark Devourer. And if you like the way the Magdaka Metis looks better, you might as well use it, because it's not going to make too big of a difference in my opinion either way, right? Like status ailments, they're useful in niche situations, but if you want to be good with the bowgun, just focus on pumping out damage. Alright, and that is my assessment of the top 5 best heavy bowguns in the game. Let's just go down the list again so that it kind of cements into your minds for now. The Dark Devourer's combination of cluster bomb, sticky ammo, and wyvern ammo, and sleep ammo, and high raw attack make it by far the best heavy bowgun in the game, no contest. The Glutton heavy bowgun comes in second place. It is a powerful user of the spread ammo. Spread ammo is one of the best ammo types in the game. It just deals high damage, but it requires a lot of skill to use. You can pair it with the impact mantle and it'll give you an easy KO on the monster. Then in third place we have the wyvern ammo bowguns. I would consider wyvern ammo one of the easier ammo types to use in the game. We have the Griffin Blazooka, the Terath Assault Horn, and the Teostra's Flame using this explosive ammo type that deals just terrific damage, but it's limited by small ammo reserves. You can use a Farcaster in order to get back to camp if you've run out of ammo, so that's one of the ways that you can help with that, but that also means giving up some more time that you could have just spent attacking the monster. The nice thing about wyvern ammo, in my opinion, is that it's actually easier to use than the spread ammo, especially with the introduction of the Temporal Mantle. Temporal Mantle, if you're charging up your wyvern shot right next to the monster, and if he tries to attack you, the mantle will make you jump. So I chose Griffin Blazooka as the best out of those three because I like the wyvern snipe. Alright, now going back once more, in rank 4 we have the Pierce ammo. There aren't a lot of competitors here. As you recall, it's just Empress Cannon Sticks and the Terath Assault Support Heavy Bowgun. I picked the Support Heavy Bowgun because it's able to use those ranged attack up mods. And then finally going back one more, we have the Elemental ammo types, which is really only useful in one situation, and that's when you're fighting Kulve Taroth herself. She has a large elemental body hit zone, right, her golden tail, and the thunder ammo just tears her up. I chose Emperor's Cannon Sticks as the best thunder ammo heavy bowgun in the game. Of course, you could also use the Terath Assault Magma, which is a close second. Alright, and there is my tier list for the heavy bowguns. If you're looking for more information and build tips, once again I'll remind you that I've left links in the comment section that you can use to jump over to a more detailed review or guide on that particular weapon. Now that I'm all done with the heavy bowguns, I'd love to hear what weapon type you guys would like for me to get into next, and in the future I will still be keeping an eye on future heavy bowguns and also the hunting horns, because that was the other weapon class that I spent a lot of time with. If you want to share your appreciation for all my hard work, feel free to share the video. That's probably what I would like the most, is if you just share it with more people so that more people can find the joy of using this weapon. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.